Well, there you go.
Feel like I should hold a funeral session for my dearly departed headset.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, I didn't bring it up, but I was having the same problem with my corded ones, and that's why I switched to these wonderful, very much freeing Bluetooth ones.
I should do that. That'll be my next investment. Get a Bluetooth set. That's an idea. Okay. Yeah, because I've had that wired one since the first show. This wired set.
Yeah.
But I think I yanked too hard on one of the cords. It's finally done. But I have two backups. So let me know, chat, if you can hear me okay. But here we are. Welcome, everybody, to the Geeky Geezers. I am your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, Pacelli.
Hello.
And here we are. And another week of hurricanes. And I'm just...
Apparently so. What's the latest that you're hearing on the one that's coming up from behind?
I don't want to think about that one. I'm done.
Okay.
Go away. I'll knock it back. That's where I'm at right now. But anyway, we're safe. Everything's fine. I just but of course a lot of the area though. I'm telling you, I think I saw a Circle K knocked over in the neighboring town. Like the gas pumps, they were all bent over.
Yeah. Well, you can be thankful that with all the damage and destruction, people and corporations are really looking to help out where they can. And we're going to talk about how Disney is trying to help out the people of your state.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, why don't I go ahead and say hi to the chat, and actually let me open up my own YouTube channel while I'm at it. I should probably be doing that. It's been a week. No more weeks like this, man. I'm telling you. We did the Superstition stream on Friday with special guest Beyond the Hub.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun, right?
That was good stuff. Yeah. I don't remember most of the closing of it. Netter pointed out that I asked her to do her closing twice. I'm like, well, this is why I got you and Boomer.
That was funny. She had just got to it. And then
close out.
Okay, great. And Netter, if you do the closing, it's like I just did it. But that's okay. Here we are. That's what Fridays are for, right?
This is what happens when you have two brown mumblers. You got to be careful.
This is the spooky time of year. And we got
Yes, it is.
Hold on. All right. But first, let's say hi to the chat here. Where is everybody?
Everybody's all over the place.
I know. I'm trying to get back up to the top.
First one I'm seeing is Chris P.
Yes, Chris P. Welcome. Hold on. Give me a moment. Got all this junk. I don't know, man. This has been I don't know how the week wasn't entertainment. I was busy with other things, though I do have some stories to read tonight. I just feel, I don't know.
We got a lot of them tonight. I kept you up to date while you were getting wind blown.
Yes. Adrian Velasco, interruption. Good evening, gents. Hope you're doing well. Looking forward to the stream tonight. Thank you, Chris P. Big Al, have a wonderful stream, you geezers. Hope everyone has a wonderful week ahead. So do I.
Absolutely.
That would be good. And all right then. But this is scheduled to start off. I'll probably log it off and turning by the time you kick off. I'll catch the rewatch tomorrow. Have a great stream. Well, thank you, Horizon.
Yeah, sorry we missed you, Horizon Talker. That was my fault. I had it set an hour late. It was a screw up. You guys know I always start 8 o'clock Sunday night.
Troy's mistake. Oh.
Yep.
FKHC 2005, otherwise known as Tim.
Yep.
All right. Connie Cleary, hail chat. Aged Boomer, last call, hail. All right.
Yep.
Hey, everyone. Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights. I don't know if I've seen you here before, but welcome to the stream. Zootopia, welcome. Space Fraggle, welcome. Deleted Scenes, welcome. And let's see. I should check on Birdman. He was probably worried about me. Let me see. Geek Flag with Nate Knows. 1973. Netters Network, welcome. I get a hi, sweetie. Netter is always generous with the hi, sweeties. That's always nice. Jesse Corhardo. And new comments. JPRPH1, if I haven't said hi to you yet, welcome. And I guess that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna get to it, huh? I don't know, man. I'm in a mood today. I don't know if I ever mentioned this a while ago on Geeky Geezers. It might have been early on the stream about how they were making an anime based off of one of my favorite mangas, a horror manga named Uzumaki. That
Mm-hmm.
was like 5 years ago that was announced, and it finally aired on HBO Max.
How was it?
It's one of the worst adaptations I've ever seen.
Oh God.
They crammed like a 22 or 24 chapter of manga into 4 episodes.
Oh gosh.
They also said that the animation quality, I agree with you, dropped off significantly in the second one. I was actually kind of on board with the first episode that it dropped off. And no one knows because the American producer of it, he put out a cryptic tweet a while ago, said we got screwed, and he didn't know if he was supposed to air the whole show, just air the first episode, or not air it at all. They decided to air it all, warts and all. And I say, no, you shouldn't have aired it at all. You just should have left it buried. That's okay. I'm in a fine mood, though, other than that. Just something I've been looking forward to for about 5 years. And
It does sound like there's
something
something
can be good. Go ahead.
It sounds like something weird went on behind the scenes there. Like you said, possibly miscommunication, because our biggest problem with so many of the streaming shows that we have seen have been it's all a bunch of filler BS. They could do whole seasons in like 4 episodes and be done with.
This is the opposite of filler BS.
Yeah.
This is like they're cutting stuff out they needed to leave in because, there's this thing called tension, especially in horror, and it has to build. And they removed all the tension. All they have are the payoffs. I'm fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Just I've only waited since the early 2000s to see Uzumaki made into an anime, and maybe another 30 years they'll try it again, and I'll be dead and buried. Anyway, let's move on to the stream, everybody. I'll be positive tonight. Let's all be positive.
You can try.
Just because entertainment sucks now, but that's okay. We'll talk about the entertainment of the past, or what passed for entertainment. We're going to talk about the good old days. And on tonight's good old days, who's the boss? Do we remember who's the boss?
AOOA. Of course I do.
AOO, I remember that, Nessie. It's all flooding back to me. I used to watch this regularly because when you're a kid in the 80s, you didn't have a choice to watch what you wanted. You watched what was on.
Right. That's true.
That is true. Streaming paradise or dystopia we have now. It's whatever was on cable and whatever the big hit shows was. And this was Who's the Boss. What is the premise of Who's the Boss, you may be wondering?
Well, I know, but you're going to tell them.
Played by Tony Danza, who I believe also was Tony on the show, right?
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, didn't he also play Tony on Taxi as well?
Yes.
It's like, were they always afraid? Yeah, no, it's going, yep, absolutely. Yes. It's like they were afraid the actor would forget his character name or something.
Yes. Well, anyway, he's a bit down on his luck, isn't he? He's a recent widow, right?
Yep.
And he's a single dad now, and he takes a housekeeping job of all things with a well-to-do business lady.
Mm-hmm. Also a single mom.
Also a single mom who has a son. And you keep thinking, when are these two crazy kids going to get together, right? Yeah. But it was Anthony Morton Macelli, Tony, and he was a former Major League Baseball player. Do you remember that? And advertising executive Angela Bauer and her young son, Jonathan. There we go. And Tony's daughter was named Samantha, if we recall, right?
Yep.
But and Mona was the grandmother, right?
I loved her. She was like my favorite character on the show.
Mona was a bit of an older seductress lady, right?
Yeah.
Wait until Netflix makes a live action version. Yeah, we'll wait. That'll be nice. With an all-American cast too. Yeah. Just don't get me started with Uzumaki. Anyway, we're talking about Who's the Boss because we got some Who's the Boss news coming up later that might be of interest to you. I loved it on SO. Mona was hot. Yeah, redhead lady, right? Yeah.
Right.
But there we go. There's a young Alyssa Milano who
Mm-hmm.
I think became crush of many young men in the United States.
I will admit
Still
it. I
going
was,
on.
I was about her age range,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there was nothing wrong with it.
Very 80s kid. But
Yep.
it was little misadventures. This was interesting because it's like you have like role reversal, right? You have this
Yeah.
this rich executive woman, and you have Tony almost taking on the executive role, but he's still kind of a very masculine, machismo man, right?
Right.
But he would still cook and stuff too, which I thought was interesting. But
Which,
yeah.
he was Italian, so you totally understand. You're like, okay, yeah.
Remember the episode where he visited his mom and she put a big plate of food in him and she said, "Manja,"
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
there's Jonathan. Who the heck is that? The girl with the glasses. Was she the Steve Urkel of this series?
No, I don't think she was a recurring character. It was
All
probably
right,
one.
because I've seen her in a few pictures. I don't recall. Every series has to have the fool. I don't know if this
I actually
series
don't
had one.
remember. I think I no. I don't think she was all that important.
So what do you remember about this show? I remember the finale when Tony actually ended up getting a coaching professorship. Like he became a coach at a university and kind of moved out. And then I think she lost her advertising job and sort of became the roles got reversed, right? Remember that?
Yeah, I
Few
do.
episodes.
Yep.
But then they figured it wasn't going to work, and then she left and to go be an advertising. And then Tony, last scene we see is Tony showing up on her door again. So I assume they got married and got together and all that. Yeah, but here we go.
It was a very, I personally, okay, so during this era, there was a lot of shows that brought up the whole trope of will they or won't they, right?
Yes,
You
yes.
saw it with Moonlighting, you saw it with so many shows. And honestly, there was this idea that, well, if they get together, that's it, it's the end. And honestly, you could point to some examples like Moonlighting where they didn't know how to continue the show once they got there. Whereas I always felt that Who's the Boss was a perfect example of the will they or won't they can take as long as they want. And even if they ever resolved it, if they had gotten married, the dynamic of the show could have still continued because they had built that kind of interpersonal family relationship to the point where we were so invested in these characters, we would have been okay with wherever they were in their journey.
I remembered one episode where I guess an old girlfriend from Tony's neighborhood came by, this sexy lady, and she and Angela got into a cat fight toward the end of the episode.
I remember that. That was kind of out there. It's like, this does not seem like Angela.
It does not seem, but she got angry. And I think that's where you got the idea. Yeah, she likes this man. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
What else, though? I remember the episode where Tony and Samantha's great-grandfather shows up, their long-lost grandfather, and he's telling stories of the old neighborhood about how he almost had a boxing career, which they realized was just reiterating the plot of Rocky, I think.
Yeah.
And then, he does.
But I'll tell you what, if you grew up Italian, you always had that one uncle who was like that. You're like, oh, he's upaz, he makes stuff up, he has a bad memory. Just smile and nod,
And then by the end of the episode, I think they do some research, realize this man is not related to us at all. They didn't know what to do. They said, well, I think they felt bad. Look, you could still be honorary family and stop by.
Yeah.
So often they felt bad about the whole situation. But yeah, I don't know. It was an 80s sitcom. This is what you did when you were a kid. You would watch sitcoms because it made you feel a little bit more adult, right?
I don't know. I kind of feel like the 80s sitcoms also, however bizarre they were, perfectly okay. You weren't really expecting them to make all that much sense.
There was suggestive stuff, but it was underneath the surface. Unless it was Married
Oh,
with
there's
Children.
that. Yeah, there's that too. That's true.
Married with Children was overt. That's why it was such a weird show for the time. But I don't know. I like this episode. I remember one episode ended with Tony waxing the car, and he gets it all nicely because he got a classic, right? And then he hears thunder overhead, and he's like, "Oh God, no, please!" And he's like praying, "Please don't, please don't." And then the thunder goes away, right? And he says, "Thank you." And then a dog poops. Sorry, then a bird poops on the car. Remember that?
Oh,
that bird poop falls on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It was
exactly
just,
right.
I don't know. But I watched this for Tony Danza.
Yeah,
Tony
I like
Danza,
Tony
class
Danza.
act. Loved him on Taxi. Taxi's a great sitcom. But
So whereas he was part of the ensemble
he's a lead on this.
in Taxi, in fact, I'd say background character almost.
Yeah.
In this, he's absolutely the lead on
Because
this.
Judd Hirsch and Danny DeVito were the leads, I think, on Taxi, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, though. But oops. Yeah. But this was Who's the Boss? Did anybody in the chat watch Who's the Boss, or is this just the geezers reminiscing?
Netter just put her hand up.
I watched it for Mona says Space Fraggle. Okay, well there we go.
I don't blame you. I mean, I liked him. I always thought that Jonathan was a little bit annoying.
Jonathan was always annoying. He got worse when he became a teenager.
Yeah, he did.
I felt bad for the actor. It's probably how they were writing him,
No. If you follow the actor after he left the role, he had some life things going on. Let's just say inside his closet.
I'm not surprised. It's but it's Hollywood, Well,
Yes.
I don't know if he went on to do other things, but Alyssa Milano certainly did, and then
she sure did. We'll be talking
not
about
gonna lie,
that.
watched Alyssa Milano. So did a lot of people, because she started as a kid, but then she kind of grew into a young woman on the show.
Not gonna lie, I watched Alyssa Milano. Yeah, that was a big part of why I watched
Alyssa
Charmed
Milano.
as well.
This is Alyssa Milano on Who's the Boss, dude.
Yep.
Nope, that was all him. But yeah, I mean, it was a good sitcom. I watched a lot of sitcoms in the 80s of varying quality. In my opinion, the worst one was Mr. Belvedere. Did you watch
but
Mr. Belvedere?
I still enjoyed it.
You liked
right.
It
wasn't
the British angle, because it was the British butler, right, in the American Family.
Yeah.
But it was still, I don't know. There were things on that show. I forget why I didn't like it. I watched Who's the Boss for a few seasons. Yeah, I think everybody did. I think I watched it for a while. I wasn't as religiously watching it toward the end, but I remember I watched the last few episodes when Tony became the coach, because I remember that was the big finale to find out how it was going to resolve itself. But I thought it had a good ending for the most part. I mean, it had an ending. How many sitcoms get that, right?
That's an excellent point. Yeah.
Mr. Belvedere's tough morals, I guess.
Which I suppose with Who's the Boss, I think I alluded to this earlier. You cared about these characters, and that wasn't always how you felt about the characters in sitcoms. So I think people wanted to kind of get a sense of where they were going before it came to an end.
Yeah. I know Mr. Belvedere and Webster was the worst too. Oh, Webster.
Was that the one with George Papadopoulos?
Maybe. I
George
think
and
so.
Ma'am.
And we had weird sitcoms. Remember the syndicated sitcoms like Small Wonder and Charles in Charge? Remember those?
I liked both of those, actually.
I like Charles in Charge, all right. It was actually reuniting of the two actors from Zapped. They were on.
Yep, Scott Baio and
forgot his name, but he was. They would always have fool characters on these shows, though. That's why the little girl with the glasses was the fool character. But my vote for worst was Cosby. Never liked Cosby. I like Cosby, all right, but I appreciated the episode with the Muppets on the Cosby Show. Did you ever see that one? He had a bad dream. He was having a bad dream, and all these Muppets were showing up. They're not like the traditional, like Muppet Show Muppets, but I suspect Jim
more like the Avenue Q Muppets.
Well, I suspect that Jim Henson provided them, or at least was involved, because I have a suspicion this is always like they did this episode of the Cosby Show where he had the bad dream with the Muppets because he never was on the Muppet Show. So this might have been making.
Oh
no, because I think his stomach was disagreeing with him, and so he actually met a puppet of his stomach and was saying, "See, I'm disagreeing with you," like he was arguing. Or no, it was the sausage sandwich that disagreed with him, and the sausage sandwich was a Muppet. And it was arguing with him. See, I'm disagreeing with you. It said. That was
just... Jesse says, Troy, I got into Babylon 5 and I can't get enough of it. We'll have to do a good old days about Babylon 5.
Well, you can get into Uzumaki and be over in 4 episodes. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
Everything's fine. We'll be talking about this if there's any fallout from this. No one's talking about what happened here. My suspicion is Warner Media. Either someone made off with Warner Media's money because this was Cartoon Network, or Warner Media shortchanged it. I don't know. It's one or the other. Hey, Charles.
If I'd have known he was going to talk about it so much, I would have had an article for it.
I just watched it because I was like, I had some downtime yesterday, and I'm still recovering from doing evacuation center work. So I'm like, yeah.
Sounds like you're recovering from the anime.
I'm angry, but it's fine. Everything's fine because we have lots of other entertainment to look forward to tonight. This was Who's the Boss? Good old days. We got update on the on a reboot show of it too later.
Okay? Absolutely. Real quick, Darth Plato, don't hold your breath on that. That's been in development hell for a while now.
Yeah, but Tony Danza, class act. Especially loved him on Taxi. Welcome everyone to Geeky Geezers. Yay!
I'm surprised we got that far into it and got through it without giving any grief to Alyssa Milano. But don't worry, we'll come back to her later.
I didn't give grief to her back then. I'm trying to talk.
No, of course not. Yeah.
Believe it or not, and I know people think, oh, we hate the Hollywood actors. We typically don't try not to attack actors unless they open their mouth and are acting stupid. I try not to. Even if they have political opinions that are different than mine, I leave it alone unless they get obnoxious about it.
I've got to say that ever since social media, now you get that trending on the side of X, and you'll see a celebrity's name and you'll go, one of two things has happened. Either they died or they said something stupid that's going to make me hate them.
Uzumaki, it's an anime, Jesse Guajardo. It's on HBO and Cartoon Network right now. Anyway, what show did I watch back in the day? Perfect Strangers. That was a good sitcom. Remember Perfect Strangers? Yeah.
It's a show that they would never be allowed to make because they'd be making fun of foreigners, even though it was
it's a fake country.
It doesn't matter. They would still say that it's based on blah blah blah, and therefore you're offensive to blah blah blah.
The show was trying in its own way to try and teach tolerance for those newly arrived in the country and the foibles that happen when they don't understand our culture. Or we don't understand their culture. Do you understand? It wasn't about.
Yes, I understand, but they don't want us to have that kind of unity.
They don't want to have fun. They just want to make everybody miserable. I know. Speaking of making everybody miserable, we got Disney to talk about tonight.
You suck! I love that.
Am I wrong here?
God. That is so funny.
Perfect image. Okay. There wasn't an image really with the PDF of the article. So I said, no, fine.
Doesn't matter. That one is just perfect.
Yeah. A Disney resort is facing backlash for appearing to charge guests stranded by Hurricane Milton for emergency sandwich kits. The kits include peanut butter, jelly, a loaf of bread, and utensils are being sold for $10 to those affected by the natural disaster. Millions have been affected by Hurricane Milton, which has hit Florida and its surrounding areas. The Category 3 storm has led to at least 14 deaths, 3.4 million power outages, and significant damage, which has yet to be determined. Those on holiday at Disneyland Resort in Orlando, Florida, have also found themselves stranded. Yeah, you may not be able to get back home. While Disney's gesture of goodwill was initially praised, reactions soon turned sour when users learned that the kits were not free for those affected. A video of the food packages was shared by TikTok's self-proclaimed Disney mama, Alyssa Sprake. Such a good idea, and they discounted board games, she wrote in such a viral clip, which accrued millions of views since it was first posted. It should be free, wrote one person in the comments. The fact that they are charging for sandwiches right now is wild, said another. I was thinking, oh, how sweet. They then saw they were charging $10, commented a third person. Others pointed out that the company's vast wealth and influence, saying Disney is a corporation, so they could literally afford to just get these away. I'm sorry, it's a jar of peanut butter, a jar of loaf of bread, and some utensils. You could give that away.
And keep in mind, you got to look at this, the overarching. There's a lot that goes into this. This doesn't take place in a vacuum. So we've just had several years of lawsuits between Disney and the state of Florida over politics. And one of their specific arguments is how we actually care more about the people of Florida than you do. We employ this many people, and that brings this much revenue into Florida, blah, 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 this and that. Yeah, well, you pretty much crap all over anyone even trying to entertain that argument by pulling this kind of crap.
What is wrong?
You don't care about anybody.
The gesture is meaningless. It wasn't free. They shouldn't have just done it. They shouldn't have done it.
Right.
I mean,
meanwhile, we have Elon up in Tennessee giving literally free access for the rest of the year to his whatever Skynet or whatever it is, so that people have internet connection.
Don't say Skynet. Anyway,
yeah, I know. Right?
Why is everyone saying it should be free for one person? If these people were home, they would have to pay for groceries during the storm. It's the best price for both items they could possibly offer. I don't know that's the best price for both items they could possibly offer. It's not like peanut butter and jelly is that expensive.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly why. Because they're not just sitting at home with a day off with their feet up. These people may have very well lost their houses. They may not have any money right now.
You would have to pay for food anyways if the storm didn't hit. If someone has a meal plan, they should be allowed to use credit for it, though, if they wanted. One guest also told Business Insider that people stranded at the resort were offered a 40% discount on accommodations during the disaster and discounted meals at hotel restaurants. Okay, that discounted, I'm not going to, okay, the discounted accommodations, that's good. I'm not going to say that isn't, but this just, ugh. I'm also going to say this too. We've had local business, like a local pizza place during one of our hurricanes was actually just delivering pizzas to people, you know, for free in the aftermath of a storm. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not like I'm expecting Disney to go out of their way, but you're just going to have simple peanut butter and jelly. Give it out. It's ridiculous. It would be good. It would be good. It would be good for, you know, your image. Your tarnished image right now.
Definitely need to improve that image because nobody likes you now, Disney. This doesn't help you at all.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm sorry. I thought that picture was perfect though for that article. But yeah, dismal Disney. I mean, I don't know. And jelly, give him some jam at least, right?
I mean. I don't know.
I went to Cracker Barrel today and I got a couple of little things of grape jam and I just took it home with me. See, you know, they give you out with the things. So there we go. This makes me furious because illegal migrants are being put up luxury hotels in New York for free. Well, that's
another good point.
Tons of free stuff from the federal government. And of course, this is business. They don't have to give this stuff out, but it would be a good gesture.
Yeah. Look, it's all about optics. You know, you have a choice. This probably is not the best choice.
Nothing's free. So yeah, this is from this was submitted by Mark Malnikoff, I believe.
Yep. Thanks, Mark.
And,
don't see in the chat just yet, but you'll probably see this on the rerun.
Former Blizzard boss, new studio reveals debut tabletop-inspired game Sunderfolk. This sounds right up your alley, Troy.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Sunderfolk is the debut game from Dreamhaven, the game company founded by former Blizzard boss Mike Morhaime. Morhaime announced the new company in 2020, which includes a roster of other ex-Blizzard staff and consists of two distinct studios, Moonshot and Secret Door. Sunderfolk is from the latter, a tactical game inspired by tabletop RPGs controlled with your phone. Players will adventure across the Sunderlands, explore diverse lands, battling monsters and meeting characterful?
I don't know.
Tell me that my that wasn't a weird autocorrect. Is that a word? Characterful? I'm sorry. Meeting colorful animal inhabitants. Never mind. Anyway, it
does seem to be a coined phrase, if nothing else.
Characterful animal inhabitants. It's all meant to parallel a traditional tabletop game, but made more accessible. That's for the use of a phone or tablet as a controller, used for everything from inventory management to combat. It's couch co-op, replicating traditional game nights. Combat skills will be turn-based, with players selecting from a deck of skill cards with which to attack. Fate cards played each turn will impact effectiveness, adding an element of luck. Players must customize their deck and coordinate with others to ensure victory. The team at Secret Door and really all of us at Dreamhaven are all about bringing players together around fun experiences, said Morhaime. Sunderfolk is a beautiful game. It's full of personality and charm. It also creates epic moments where everyone is engaging directly with each other to work out strategies or celebrate victories. There's nothing quite like it, and we're really looking forward to seeing what players think.
Well,
Yeah.
It sounds to me like this is a customizable card game, and the fact that this is something that is not owned by Hasbro,
Yes.
and will be in direct competition with Magic the Gathering and other such games. I'm all for it. I appreciate this.
Well, I'm wondering, isn't their dream to come up with this digital D&D thing where you pay money for all this extra stuff for digital items you don't really own? And why do I have
They're trying to
Sunderland? They
find
probably
a
just give you
way.
the stuff. Sunderfolk, they probably just give you the stuff, right? Yeah.
They're trying to find a way. Hasbro is to always have their hand in your pocket, and I figure you should at least buy me dinner first.
Characterful is in fact a word. Okay, I believe you, Matanui. This is my first time hearing it. We always learn a new word every now and then, don't we? Whatever happened
It's
to
an awkward
Scrabble?
word. I'm not sure that it's one I would have chosen
Whatever happened to
in
Scrabble?
an editorial piece like this.
It became words with friends.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the name No Thank You Evil? I don't know what that is. You are 2,000% right, Curtis Selby. By the way, Curtis Selby, were you caught up in any of this hurricane business recently? If you were, I hope you're doing all right.
Yeah.
You might be retired. But looks like Secret Door Zero revealed trailer for in development. Sunderfolk will be released across Steam, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and the Switch in 2005. So look at that. It's out for everything. All right. Just searched it. Okay. All right. So Sunderfolk, I hope that this does better than whatever Hasbro has planned. That might be good.
Hmm?
Especially since I'm not really a huge fan of Blizzard these days anyway, so maybe
but former Blizzard boss.
No, these people were involved with the nonsense. They just royally messed up the Diablo 2 remaster. Don't get me started. When I buy a game, it shouldn't have DRM on it.
I agree.
I shouldn't have to sign into Blizzard.net each time I want to play Diablo 2. I bought it. Everything's fine. Ubisoft director blames gamers because of course he does.
You're right.
Ubisoft's continuous downward spiral is seemingly only gaining speed with the latest speed boost coming from the company monetization director for Ubisoft, who took to LinkedIn to call gamers critiquing the company and its products as non-decent humans. Are you a non-decent human, Troy?
By his definition, probably.
A quick summary of Ubisoft's recent nosedive begins with the unveiling of Assassin's Creed Shadows, which quickly gained controversy for numerous allegations that Ubisoft was misrepresenting Japanese heritage through unpopular artistic design choices. Additionally, Ubisoft admitted that Star Wars Outlaws underperformed sales-wise, and the controversy with Assassin's Creed Shadows reached a boiling point that the game is now officially delayed until February next year. These company woes have also spawned an internal investigation and review by company board members. All of these bumps in the road have caused Ubisoft's share price to plummet more than 50% in just the last 2 months, causing the company's board of directors to launch an internal review of the company's performance, which will likely result in reshuffling of staff. Now, in the heat of what could be considered the most tumultuous time for Ubisoft, the company's director for monetization, Steve Chassard, has taken to LinkedIn to voice his opinion on the public's reaction to Ubisoft and its recent decisions. This is his quote. The gaming industry is rough at the moment, we all know it, but seeing how quote-unquote gamers react on social media is wishing ill fate to companies and people alike is sad, and not only towards Ubisoft. Even though it is always the vocal minority that express themselves on social media, I was hurt, and ashamed to be part of this community. What is even more revolting is coming on LinkedIn and seeing the same comments from people within the industry. On top of exposing yourself as a clearly non-decent human being, you are affecting thousands of employees that are already impacted by all the hate despite doing their best to deliver incredible experiences. How can you wish a company to fail simply because they do not cater to you, or that the produce, maybe they meant product, does not please you is beyond me. We are on the same boat. Please, please, please stop spreading hate. We should all uplift each other instead of bringing each other down, said Chassard. I have some comments on this. The other developers that are saying this realize that you're making the gaming industry look bad by releasing bad product. It's not lifting boats when you do that. It's sinking other boats too, because people eventually just move on.
You're sinking your own boat harder. You're punching more holes in your own boat.
Ubisoft is on fire and underwater.
I'm sorry. This is what companies need to understand. They literally are identifying a problem and making it worse. They're saying, we have fans that don't like this, so let me go out of my way and insult them and make sure that they stay away so that we definitely don't make any money going forward.
Jessica Hardo, Troy, I watched Laser Pig video on Ubisoft Skull and Bones game and the trouble history that game had. Yeah, that was another one they messed up. They act like this is all recent. Ubisoft's troubles are recent. It's just this game and Star Wars Outlaws. And before that, the company was doing fine. The company was not doing fine. They've had a lot of misses, and like, not. It's just that those. It's just been boiling up. It's up over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think everybody really liked a lot of the prior Assassin's Creed's game. A lot of people say the last good one was Black Flag, the pirate one. Non-decent humans. But and keep in mind, this is the monetization director. What is a monetization director?
You would think it would be someone that you want, that wants to make sure you capitalize as much as possible.
I suspect that a monetization director is someone who is figuring out ways to monetize games even further to get you to get his hand in your pocket more after you've already spent $70 on the game. No,
you don't want to minimize.
But what I'm trying to say is, I don't give a shit what this guy has to say. He's a guy in charge of trying to fleece the customer. Yeah. Go away.
But like I said, if that is in fact what his purpose is, he's kind of doing the opposite.
I don't know. But this is the Ubisoft story of the week. I'm sure there'll be more as time goes on.
I'm sorry. He's making us all the more want to point and go ha ha, as his company dies.
And he's yelling at the other developers on LinkedIn. Those are professionals that are pointing out that your company has not been doing its job.
Yes.
Do your job. Make a good product, and customers buy a good product. Make bad product, customers don't buy bad product. Your company goes out of business. Don't this fan base.
I don't know how I missed
countries, entire nations.
Nate makes a great point. I don't know how I glossed over this. I guess with all the other BS. Jackass talking about not spreading hate, but he calls people who criticize the game non-decent humans. This is literally what these people do. They engage in the behavior that they're condemning.
Yeah. Last game I liked was Alien Firestorm Relate Calderon. I didn't play that one. I looked at it. I was curious about it. That's a game based on the Aliens franchise.
Yep.
All right, but I don't know, man. This is a sinking ship, and frankly, I think this monetization director should maybe look for a new line of work and get out of the gaming industry. We have a lot of people in industries that have no business being there, and they need to go and find other modes of work. Get out of here. Get out.
Yeah.
Moving on. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I saw this and I laughed real quick. Let's say hi to Jesse Green.
Jesse
Hello.
Green. Oh,
hard make great games.
Sorry.
Wait. Hello all. How hard is it to make games and stop talking? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, make a great game and stop talking. Yeah. But
speaking of a great game that it looks like they are going to be doing a remaster on.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's go ahead. Go.
I actually had originally thought maybe I'd call it up on Steam and play it so people could see the game, but I didn't get a chance to figure out the logistics behind that. Right. But
you should do a live.
What a great game this!
You should do a live stream sometime. You're playing Goat Simulator.
Yeah, maybe.
Or some of those old Sierra games, huh?
Oh, right.
Goat Simulator Remastered is coming to PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox XS on November 7, 2024. Revealed during Gamescom Open Night Live 2024 with an appropriately bizarre trailer. The remastered game will feature improved visuals and enhanced mutator menu and the full collection of DLC for the original. You can find the list of that below. I have that DLC. One of them is a goat zombie outbreak thing.
Oh my gosh.
It has to have a zombie mode, yeah. Goat Simulator was originally conceived during a game jam as a joke, but was released to the public in 2014 and somehow became popular enough to sell millions of copies across several platforms. It then became a series with the latest entry being Goat Simulator 3 from 2022. Where is Goat Simulator 2? Does that exist? Because I've only heard people talk about 3. They just skip 2 and go straight to 3.
I don't know. Well, that actually would be on brand.
Yeah. You've waited 10 years. Now we ask that you just wait one more month. Coming to Joel right home. Producer at Coffee Stain Publishing. Goat Simulator Remastered is going to knock your socks, hooves, ? Off, and we promise it'll be worth the wait. We're so excited to see what our fans think. Goat Simulator 3 is also coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. In addition to the release date for the remastered original, Coffee Stain announced Goat Simulator 3 is coming to Xbox, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on October 24th. It includes cross-ownership, which means that players who have the games on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series XS can access their older versions and vice versa. The PS4 and Xbox One version comes with local as well as online 2-player split-screen modes. Okay, I assume they're talking about Goat Simulator 3 in that, and not its sequel. I have to say, though, do we need a remastered Goat Simulator? I almost think part of the charm of the original game is kind of the not great graphics, but I don't know. I guess you need to see the goats in 4K, right? But
I mean, I thought the graphics were pretty good. So when they say they want to improve them, I'm like, okay, I'll be open to seeing what that looks like.
Well, they were kind of basic, but I thought they worked at being basic. I like the fact you'll probably see more detail. You can read the cans of soda in the store shelves now, probably stuff like that. I don't know. But good grief, Charlie Brown. I do not understand what people see in Goat Simulator. I hate this game with extreme prejudice. You know what? What I love about Goat Simulator game is that it is just it's
bizarre.
Stupid, and you roll.
It's just freaking bonkers. I mean,
it was made as a joke, and then they released it to the public.
Okay, so let's back up a second and give our little history with this. I had never heard of this game before. Suddenly, I get this little notification: check your Steam account. Agent Boomer has purchased for me a gift of this game. So I'm like, okay, let's try this. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I don't know what it's a first person kind of game where you're playing a goat. And I'm like, I don't know what
it's a goat in front of you.
I don't know what the purpose is. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. And what's the first thing you do when you have nothing else to do? It's like, let's see if I can kill something. So you start smashing all kinds of crap. And I'm like, well, this is fun. And then you start ramming into people and knocking them around and they go running from you. I'm like, this is actually kind of fun. And then every now and again, you get yourself into a position where you fall, or like there's this one bit where you step onto what are the jogging machines and it sends you flying, and the goat goes, "Wah!" And it's like, and I swear I was laughing so hard, and it's like, what are you laughing at? So I put it up on the big screen for her to see, and we're both laughing so hard. She says, "What's the point of the game?" I said, "I think this is it. I think this is what the point of the game is."
And then he would get achievement unlocked, and he has no idea what he did.
Yeah, I'm like, what did I do to get this achievement? I don't even know.
Whatever happened to Galaga?
I don't believe in sending super chats, says the Clue
fine.
Channel, and then he sends a super chat.
That's fine. Go right ahead.
Oh, thank you so much, my friend. You are wonderful.
Thank you. Anyway, what was this? I get it. Y'all smoke pop. That's why you like this game. I
felt like I had been after playing this game.
I'm not even really a huge fan of the Grand Theft Auto series.
If this is true, Matanui, then they got it spot on. You're supposed to wreak havoc. Well, that's absolutely what you do, and it is a lot of fun.
In Grand Theft Auto 5, I think in the newer version, you could like take peyote or something in it, and then you literally turn into a different like an animal, and like you're running around the Grand Theft Auto world as like a Rottweiler or something, right?
Oh my gosh!
And that's what this sort of reminds me of. They just made an entire game out of it, and I don't know, it's completely ridiculous because I see these protesters, And I'm like, I don't know what they're protesting, but I know these people would annoy me. But I'm a goat, and I can do whatever I want. And I'm just
it doesn't matter because from the goat's point of view, they're just targets.
They could be protesting the new petting zoo being built because of the goat angle.
Matanui says, "You are goat, destroyer of worlds."
Yes.
Yeah. And there's some.
Ooh, they should put that as a subtitle under the next Goat Simulator game.
Right. There are some great. You kind of make up your own little missions. It's like, hey, I just wandered into a construction zone.
Yep.
So let me see if I can't get to the top of this skyscraper. And you kind of can if you figure it out.
There's a lot of freedom in this game, and I frankly, the thing I love doing the most is just blowing up the cars and blowing up the gas stations.
Jesse says, Troy, there's a Goose game that's kind of does the same thing. I've seen people.
Untitled Goose Game. I love the title. I think it's called Untitled Goose Game.
I've seen that. Yeah, I haven't.
I've heard good
myself,
things. I've not played it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Untitled Goose Game is you going around kind of just messing with people, like a guy will be eating a sandwich and you'll steal his sandwich, or you'll steal his car, his house key so he can't get to his house, things like that. And it's more like, I think the Goose Game is more about being sneaky and doing things, whereas Goat Simulator is more in your face. That might be the difference between.
It's just I'm here and I just feel like doing this now, and no one's gonna stop me.
But I'm saying, y'all that are interested, you own a new PC or current consoles, you can go out and get this remastered version. It includes all the DLC, including Goats in Space. I believe that was one of the DLCs. And Goats with a Z, I think that was the zombie mission where you're a zombie goat. or there's zombies in the game. Because everything needs a zombie mode. That was making fun of the fact that at that point, a lot of games were getting zombie modes in them. So,
or they were just a lot of zombie games in general. Yeah.
Yes, but anyway, I'm looking forward. Who knows? I have purchased this thing on the Switch because it's always cheap when I see it on sale. So I've gotten this on the Switch. I've gotten this on my Xbox, my PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 3. I probably don't need it on that many consoles, but it's Goat Simulator and it has to be there. This and Tony Hawk. By the way, there was a comment about where we stoned when we played this. I'm not going to give names away, but I remember back in the turn of the century when I was stopping by a classmate's apartment, and maybe they were had partaken in a certain thing, and the game they were playing was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on the PlayStation.
There you go.
That was my introduction to the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Was by a few stoner guys.
Okay. I was not imbibing when I played this game, and I laughed so hard. I can't imagine it being more fun if I was drunk at the time.
Anyway,
it was fun.
Yeah, but looking forward to it.
It was nice to have some good news for once.
Getting a little more old school. Sega and Universal announce Shinobi movie. What? Sega has what?
I was going to say, you think they're going to screw it up?
We'll see. Sega has already had some success on the big screen, and now it's looking to expand on this with a movie based on its Shinobi franchise. The Universal movie will be directed by Sam Hargrave, with Ken Kobayashi from Sunny Move On writing the screenplay adaptation of the side-scrolling hack and slash. I don't know if I would call it a hack and slash, which originally debuted in arcades in 1987. Since Joe Musashi's first game, the franchise has spawned sequels, spin-offs, sold over 5 million copies worldwide, and there's also a new game on the way as part of Sega's initiative to revive its classic library of games. Some footage of this new game being leaked earlier this year. Here's some information about the talent producing this upcoming Shinobi game. Mark Platt and Adam Siegel will produce the movie through Mark Platt Productions alongside Dimitri M. Johnson through Story Kitchen and Toru Nakahara for Sega. Mike Goldberg will executive produce alongside Timothy I. Stevenson, who is co-producing. Universal, as you likely already know, is also responsible for the recent adaptations of Super Mario Bros. And Five Nights at Freddy's series. Apart from Shinobi and the Sonic 3 movie, which is out in cinemas in December, a Streets of Rage movie has also been announced. When we find out more on this new project, we'll let you know. Would you be interested in a Shinobi movie? I'm going to say yes. Shinobi is it's an action series with a ninja going up against the evil organization Zed. You there?
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but okay.
In Revenge of Shinobi, you fought Neo-Zed because they had come back. And in the original Revenge of Shinobi game for the Sega Genesis, there were several bosses you fought in the game. One boss was the Incredible Hulk. One boss was the Terminator. One boss was Godzilla. One boss was Batman and Spider-Man at the same time.
Oh, jeez.
Let's just say different companies went over to Sega and they said, what are you doing? Did you get the rights to this? I think Rambo was also a boss in the game.
Oh, my gosh.
What are you doing? And I think they had to eventually remove everything from the game, including Godzilla. Godzilla got replaced with a robot dinosaur. The Hulk got replaced with just this weird-looking guy. I think Spider-Man they were able to keep in there for a little while because Sega had the rights to make Spider-Man games at that point.
Oh, okay.
So they left him alone. But Batman, they made him look more bat-like. It was a ridiculous game. There's one stage where you're like, you see these nuns walking by you, and of course, off come the frogs and their ninja girls instead fighting you. And it's a very early '90s ridiculous game. All right.
I just want to know: is there a level where you got to fight a goat?
No.
You know, I just had to ask. Okay.
My favorite, though, was Shinobi 3 Return of the Ninja Master. There's one stage where you're riding a horse and you have to fight ninjas on horseback. There's a stage later on where you're on a surfboard fighting ninjas.
Why not? Why not?
That surf ninja, that's what I said when I saw that. You fight a horrible bioweapon, which is like this genetic engineering thing. The Neo-Zed organization is wonderful because they create they have these they'll have regular mercenary types of machine guns. They have super mystical ninjas working for them. They have bioweapons, whatever it takes. You know, it's just
wow.
This could be a lot of fun, especially if they just treat it like a good action movie with a ninja. I would probably harken back to those early ninja movies of the 80s, like Enter the Ninja. Remember that one with Franco Nero?
Yep.
Do stuff, or remember Ninja 3 The Domination?
Vaguely, yeah.
Had the actress from Breaking in it. She gets possessed
by
right. Ninja.
Yeah.
That? Yes.
That's right.
Kind of reminds me of Beverly Hills Ninjas. Well, the thing about it's how can I put this about games? Games can have ridiculous things in them, but you're still taking them seriously when you're playing them. But then when you look at it, it's almost like looking at the best thing I compare it to is like a canon movie, you know,
right.
like some of the ridiculous, like when you're watching Death Wish 3, you're in the moment, but then you look at it logistically and you're like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense what just happened here, you know, and that's sort of what these are. If they could have a little bit of a sense of humor about this thing,
yeah,
they do. But I in the actual,
if it was that kind of canon style screwball kind of adventure film, I think that would be awesome. Yeah,
I think just go nuts with this movie. Just make it ridiculous. You could make it almost a parody of those canon ninja movies, and I think it could work. But I do love this cover. You have Joe Masashi on the cover there. I don't know what's in the background there. That looks like some kind of Japanese demon or something, right? That's
yeah.
It's just maybe you fight that at some point in the game. But yeah, they replaced Godzilla with either dinosaurs in one release, but the US release had a Godzilla skeleton. Yes, because they had to keep changing the game. Eventually, in the latest incarnation, they just made Spider-Man and Batman, and they made their outfits pink. So in a way, this game has been, I would argue this game has been censored, but censored because of legalese, not because of, you know. I mean, think about it. I think one guy you fought was supposed to be Rambo. And actually, at that time, I think Sega made the Rambo games. They made Rambo 3 for the Sega Genesis. But it was interesting. I believe that the original image of the Shinobi in the game, like when you see the face on the title screen, I think it was Sonny Chiba. I think they based that image off of Sonny Chiba, actually.
Interesting.
But, there was already a Shinobi movie that went straight to DVD in 2005. Well, we're getting another one. Just make a kick-ass action movie. I'm on board with this.
It'd be nice.
I'm on board with Streets of Rage. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I think some of the people behind the John Wick movies are behind the Streets of Rage movie, and that makes sense to me. So I think these could be good. Maybe some good kung fu feel to it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Make it like that. Good movie in this genre is Kung Fu Hustle. Find it, Troy. Kung Fu Hustle's very
yes.
That's a good movie. That and Shaolin Soccer. They were both by the same director.
Yep. Yep.
That's where the soccer team learns kung fu. Remember that?
Yep.
All right, moving right along. I keep saying that because I have the Muppets stuck in my head. All right. Oh, this is confirming what we already know. Steam appears to have started posting a notice in its shopping cart that purchases in a storefront are only for a license and not a game, according to a note spotted by Engadget. It looks like an attempt by the company to get ahead of the new California law coming next year that forces companies to admit that buyers don't actually own digital content. When you open your shopping cart with items inside and before going to payment, a notice at the bottom right states, a purchase for a digital product grants a license for the product on Steam. This is the first our editors have seen a notice like this, and we use Steam a lot, so it appears to be relatively new. Last month, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed AB 2426 into law, forcing digital marketplaces to make it clear to customers when they only purchase a licensed access media, it will only apply to permanent offline downloads, only digital copies of it will not apply to permanent offline downloads, only digital copies of video games, music, movies, CDs, ebooks for an online storefront. Companies that fail to comply could face fines for false advertising if they don't explain in clear language limitations of a given digital purpose. The law follows situations like Ubisoft deleting the crew from players' libraries after the game server shuttered. Ubisoft again, thank you. Because Ubisoft didn't like Steam. They had to set up their own PC distribution center because they suck, because they can't just use Steam like everybody else. I know a lot of people love Steam, and I guess Steam has to say this, but you can download the games off Steam and store them on your hard drive, right?
Don't know, never tried.
That was my understanding of it. You don't play it through the cloud, right?
But something tells me that a lot of these games you can only play if you're connected to the internet, even if all the files are resident on your hard drive. I don't know. I've never tried it, so I don't know for certain. But all I know is that a lot of fans that, look, I've been saying this all along. I've been saying own physical media. If you own something on a streaming service, or basically that's what Steam is for games, you don't own anything. They can take it away from you at any time they want. They can change it anytime they want, and they do. And there's a lot of customers of theirs that I've seen on, and not that I'm necessarily saying that Age of Boomer and the Geeky Geezers necessarily agrees with this, although maybe Troy does. If purchase is not ownership, then maybe pirating isn't stealing. Just saying.
Good point. I'm not going to necessarily argue there, because unfortunately, as much as I'd like to say don't, I also understand that in a lot of cases with some movies and a lot of old games, the only way you can legitimately own them is by piracy. Like that's why when a company does go to the extra mile, like Konami did with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection, where they had all the games on a disc or a Switch card, you get them off Steam. This is a company at least going to the trouble of releasing these games, paying the license and releasing them. So in that case, go out and buy the official release. And I'll even say with this instance, they actually went the extra mile and give you extra stuff with the game too, like all sorts of, making of files on the disc and all things you could do to get rid of flicker on the old games if you wanted. You could either play them as they originally were, or you could spruce them up a bit. It was neat. I am still against sending super chats.
You are nuts, Clue. Thank you so much. You are wonderful. You're the sponsor of the stream tonight, no doubt about it.
It sucks all the more when you remember Xbox going digital releases in the near future. Yeah, they're really trying to, even Sony, that got rid of their, I think someone made a comment about that in the last stream, how they got rid of their disk drive. I mean, you can buy a separate one to attach to it, but it's like, what are you doing, people? Troy, Sega did the same thing with the Jurassic Park classic games. I don't know. As far as I knew, you can't get those classic Jurassic Park games. Those were the Nintendo ones that were on Nintendo consoles, not the Sega versions. Because I want to get the Sega versions. Because in the Sega version of Jurassic Park, you could play as either Dr. Alan Grant or you could play as the Raptor.
Interesting.
You could play one mode of the game where you could play as the Raptor, the Velociraptor. Come on, that's neat. But I guess it's good though that we're now being upfront about
that's really all it is. It's forcing the truth in
about
advertising.
Gavin Newsom, but I agree with him here. See, I can agree on something.
Yeah. This doesn't do anything substantially different. This was always the way it was. Now you're just aware of it.
Yeah.
They're forcing them to be honest about it.
Yeah. So,
so was I a conspiracy theorist back when I was saying it? Or
well, apparently
now that it's proven again.
Apparently, I didn't own the French Connection because they were able to censor it on me.
There you go. I told you.
Started on the French Connection. That was Disney. I just copied the Jurassic Park video games for the anniversary on disc. I know, but I think it's the versions that were on Nintendo, not the ones on Sega. I could be wrong though. All right. Like the one for the Super Nintendo. They did a follow-up too on the one on Super Nintendo. I think it was called Jurassic Park 2: The Chaos Continues. And it was a like a sequel to the original Jurassic Park movie. And I think it was the bad guys in it were that rival corporation that wanted the DNA. Remember them?
Sure, that makes sense.
But Terrifier 2 Terrifier 2 looks to slash Joker Folie Deux at weekend box office with 11 million plus opening preview. I have yet to see any of these Terrifier.
I haven't either.
It has.
I'm not a huge fan of horror clowns, but
Yeah. Who the hell saw this coming? What was expected to be a David versus Goliath situation at the weekend box office between indies and a major Hollywood studio. Cine versus unrated gory slasher movie Terrifier 3 is looking to gross 11 million plus this weekend, if not more, completely pushing Warner Brothers' bomb's Joker Folie Deux out of the top spot.
Okay, so pause right there. Answering the first question, who the hell saw this coming? Anyone who was paying attention. We have been talking about this Joker sequel for a while, starting with why do we need a sequel to this movie?
It's supposed to be a standalone picture.
Right. How is this even a Joker film? How does this have anything to do with DC Comics or any of that kind of stuff? It really doesn't. Oh, they're going to replace, basically a lot of fans see it as replacing Margot Robbie with
Lady
Gaga. And people weren't too fired up about that. And all the people that love Harley so much, which is why presumably you would have Harley in this sequel, we're going, yeah, this is not my Harley Quinn. There was nothing going for this. Plus, as the budget went higher and higher, the prospect of it making profit got lower and lower. And I don't know too much about Terrifier, as a series, but horror movie. If it's on its third movie,
well, I'll say this: horror, I suspect Terrifier 3 will at least please its fans, right, of the Terrifier series. Now,
one imagines. And it has to have fans for it to be on its third film. Horror films tend to be very low budget, with pretty decent return on investment. So back to the question of who the hell saw this coming? All of us, pretty much everyone in my chat right now, pretty much everyone who's going to be listening to this in the future, and certainly those of us on the panel. So there you go.
Here's the penciling of it all. Disney Marvel's fanboy rejection, the Marvel's free fall, 78% in its last weekend, last November, the biggest drop in the MCU title after lackluster 46.1 million opening. And as you know, Joker for Filet-O-Fish and its D Cinema score. Here's an idea. You could have done an adaptation of The Laughing Fish. Everybody would have loved it. Just, you could have spent your...
Oh my gosh, right? No doubt about it.
Just do a Joker story with Batman in it and just no. Can't do that. And its D Cinema score has been placing behind Marvel's, which received B Cinema score in its opening of 37.6 million and a midweek gross of 1.8 million Monday and 2.6 million Tuesday. By comparison, the Marvels did 2.3 million and 3.3 million over the last 2 days, respectively. I don't know why they don't try for a modestly budgeted Batman movie that's treated like a detective story. And you could still have some fisticuffs in it, like you would in like a Philip Marlowe thing or something, but...
Exactly right.
What do I know? On the low end, if Joker 2 takes a 70% tumble, that means 11.2 million second weekend. But if it follows Marvel's, it would be 8 million or lower. After taking US on 2022's Terrifier 2 for $250,000, Cineverse reaped a ton of cash of its near 11 million domestic take, with spoils to boot, including a spike in streaming subs for its Screenbox service. A 2,300 screen theatrical release for Terrifier 3 is planned for this weekend, with previews starting at 8 p.m. How does it cost $250,000?
I have no idea.
Is this going to be like those Pooh movies?
I don't know, but it's not like they have big star power. It's not like they have a lot of
You got the
special
clown.
Yeah.
Okay, the slasher pick, written and directed by Damien Leone, follows Art the Clown, who is set to unleash chaos on the unexpected residents of Miles County as they peacefully drift off to sleep on Christmas Eve. Oh, it's a Christmas movie. David Howard Thornton plays Art the Clown, and Laura Lavera also stars. 32 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are 88% for Terrifier 3. So look at that. This could double as a Christmas movie, too.
There you go. I'm good with that. Well, you got to make it as timely as possible.
Hey,
actually, Curtis, what you're saying is absolutely spot on. We've been saying that all along. Just pay attention to the fans and give the fans what they want. They will come back and they will give you money, but they can't follow that formula. Apparently.
Troy, we have 3 live-action DC timelines going at the same time, and I'm fucking done with DC. I've
said that. I have said that so many times. It is such an effing mess, and they're making it worse all the time.
It's probably down to 2 after Joker 2 came out, though. We're probably now down to 2 because I don't think we're getting anything else in this universe.
And Space Fraggle wants to buy me around because he's awesome. He says, "Let me buy you around for the movie, Troy. Salute." Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
Well, you can, you can have another. I don't know. Actually, I don't know what you're going to do for this Friday. You're going to have to do a themed drink. It'd be something with a gummy eye in it or something.
No, we ate all the gummy eyes.
Oh, I see. I really don't care for Terrifier. I've not seen any of them, Matt and Nui, so I can't tell you how I feel.
Yeah. I came into this saying I'd never heard of this before. I'm just saying that there must be some fans of it if it made it to a third movie.
And a little budget movie is going to do a lot better box office than a big budget
movie. I have nothing against it. There's no reason for me to hate on it. If it's got fans, I hope they love it. I really do.
I don't know when they're going to be able to do the Joker in a movie again now. After this mess.
Yes, I will save it for Friday, Space Fraggle. Absolutely. Yeah, because I got to work this week. Sure, I'll tell you what, you guys are encouraging the hell out of me because behind the scenes, I've been grousing about the costs on StreamYard. They just went up 80% in the middle of my service, and they dropped the level of coverage. I am fit to be tied, and I have Netter researching other options and stuff.
There may be other options. You're not the only.
I was this close. I'm like, it's not even worth it to continue this streaming stuff if this is the way they're going to nickel and dime us.
Troy, I'm surprised they haven't made a sequel to Mars Attacks.
Right?
You know what they could have done?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a good.
You know what they could have done? Dinosaurs Attack. Dinosaurs Attack. Ever hear of that one?
No, but it sounds good.
It was another gory card series made by Topps in I think the mid '80s. It was about it was done in the style of Mars Attacks. But it was about a scientific experiment in time travel, and they end up sucking all the dinosaurs from the past into the present, and all the chaos that ensues, and all the dinosaurs eating people, and all sorts of shenanigans. And I'm saying they could have done an adaptation of that.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It gave it a reason for why the dinosaurs went extinct.
That's kind of interesting.
Because basically, we in order to stop the dinosaurs, we had to rip them out of time after they basically almost destroyed our whole civilization. They were able to reverse something. So the dinosaurs got torn apart by getting ripped back to their time. And it says, now we know what made the dinosaurs extinct. We did. But it looked like the present in the world wasn't very good. That would be an interesting. Wow. I wish they would have done one of those Topps books that had all the cards in it. But I'm sorry about StreamYard. I don't even know what to say to do.
Yeah.
Well, let's wait and see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
I like the concept of Mars Attacks too. Yeah, I don't know what they would do for that. I know Tim Burton, they'd have to get him on board probably because he did the original. This is
wait a minute. I haven't posted it yet. You're getting ahead of me. That's okay though. That's okay. There we go.
Why?
Yeah.
We'll get fired over.
Although this didn't come from them, I know that Tom Connors over at Midnight's Edge was talking about this. I think it was completely separate from this article, in fact.
When Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdy took over as co-heads of Warner Brothers movie studio in early June 2022, one of the first decisions they made was to move forward with a sequel to Joker, the Oscar-winning $1 billion hit that helped redefine the heights a comic book movie could reach. Virtually all of the key deals were already put into place by their predecessor, Toby Emmerich, with A-list director Todd Phillips and star Joaquin getting 20 million paydays and the film landing a rich net budget of 190 million. The first film cost 55 million. Phillips was a huge asset for Warner, his home studio. One small outstanding matter was Lady Gaga's perk package. Within weeks, the papers were signed. Her pay was 12 million, and she officially joined Joker Folie Deux. Abdy and DeLuca could have said no to making the film, but they would have been the laughingstocks of Hollywood, considering the astonishing success of Joker and its record-shattering ride at the global box office, where it ranked as the top-grossing R-rated film of all time until Deadpool and Wolverine came along. But over the October 4 to 6 weekend, everyone at Warner's, including the executive duo, were left reeling as Folie Deux collapsed at the box office debut with 37.8 million domestic opening after becoming the first comic book movie in history to receive a D cinema score. Phillips, according to one source, spent the weekend in seclusion on a ranch property he owns. Domestically, Folie Deux opened well behind DC's 2023 The Flash and Marvel Studios' The Marvels, both of which were major bombs. It also came in behind Sony's relatively inexpensive Morbius. Morbius did better than this.
It's Morbin time.
Morbius was probably more fun to watch, too. It is a complete audience rejection, says one source close to the film. Overseas, Folie Deux came in an estimated 81 million, in line with expectations, but still notably behind the first film. While it is not the lowest North American opening for a pick based on a DC character, Joker Folie Deux is a major stumble. Yet numerous sources tell THR that there's no studio head in Hollywood, say perhaps for Sony Pictures, Tom Rothman, who would have turned down making a sequel to a film that was both a commercial and critical hit. To boot, Abdy and DeLuca were under orders by Warner Brothers Discovery chief David Zaslav to fill a bare cupboard after the studio's Project Popcorn disaster, which alienated talent by sending its entire 2021 slate day and date to its streaming service, Max. Yeah, that was Jason Killar. Remember when we were complaining about that?
Yep.
Zaslav is also keen to exploit the company's IP more fully. It's a collective failure, but it was right to make this move, says one top veteran producer and financier, who points out that Phillips is a brilliant director who has made Warner's billions between the first Joker and the Hangover movies. They were afraid of losing talent, too. They lost talent. They lost Christopher Nolan. They lost, I think Villeneuve was close to walking, too, after the whole Dune debacle. That was another day and date, remember?
Yes, it was.
Still, observers wonder how DeLuca and Abdy could have presided over a film that veered so far off course from what audiences wanted or expected. One answer, perhaps Phillips was given an extraordinary level of autonomy in Final Cut. There was no test screening, though insiders say this is a mutual decision between the filmmaker and Warner's in order to preserve spoilers. That decision does stretch credulity, as the film does not have a particular spoiler-heavy plot. And even spoiler-reference movies like Marvel Studios' Avengers Endgame had multiple test screenings. For the first Joker, former DC Films president Walter Hamada worked on the project and received an executive producer credit. He was let go, but then he was hired by, I think, Universal, right?
I'm not sure.
I think he was hired. I think that he got hired. He bounced back. This time round, no DC executives were involved, as when the project was greenlit, DC was in full state of near chaos. It would still be months before James Gunn and Peter Safran were hired to run the division and form DC Studios. Here's what you do. Shelve the DC projects for a while. Work on something else. And then when you're ready, then you bring DC back. That's what I would have done, but what do I know?
Well, not only that, but I mean, they kind of need to, get people in that understand what the hell they're working
Get
on.
a plan going
Yeah.
for where you want to go. I feel like they're trying to slap something together again like they did the last time. Anyway, since Phillips' main forte was comedy, Emmerich capped the budget on the first at $55 million and brought on co-financiers to mitigate the risk, including Braun and Village Roadshow. Sources tell THR that Alcon, backed by FedEx titan Fred Smith, ultimately put up Village Roadshow's portion and was eager to have a stake in Folie. The Zaslav regime, however, didn't want to see so much money going out the door, and only one co-financier on the sequel, its Slate financing partner Domain. So they basically told the guy, you can't be part of the sequel.
Yeah.
And now I guess he's thanking them now, right?
Apparently.
On Sunday, Warner's didn't attempt to sugarcoat the movie's performance or suggest it has a chance of catching on after being rejected by fanboys, unless people want to see it because of the hate factor. People don't hate watch. I think this is a myth. Am I wrong here?
Nobody spends money to hate watch. That's
true.
for darn
I don't
sure.
spend money to hate watch. I'm already getting max. That's why I'll finish up Uzumaki. One episode left. I got to know how they botched the ending. Anyway, they also didn't point fingers internally, such as at the marketing, which can often happen after the movie bombs. Imagine if just $1 million of this budget was given to Uzumaki Warners. I'm sorry. I'll be good. It's a huge disaster, but what is the fallout? Who gets the blame, asks one source. Both Gunn and Phillips have emphasized in recent days that they did not work together on the project, with Gunn answering a question from a fan on social media asking why DC Studios logo did not appear on the movie, with the filmmaker exec writing, because it's not a DC Studios film, he went on to add. All future films with DC characters will be DC Studios. There's a DC logo during the credits. Interestingly, and perhaps as a courtesy, Gunn saw the movie at the same time as DeLuca and Abby, according to the source. I want to say something. This is almost like how Sony has its Marvel thing before their movies, but it's not a Marvel Studios movie, right?
Well, and I also think this is also Gunn trying to distance himself from this POS.
Everybody wants to get away from this. Phillips himself has confirmed that Gunn and Safran had nothing to do with the movie, saying at recent screening that the attitude was, okay, Todd did his thing, let Todd continue to do his thing. Gunn and Safran have vested interest in distancing themselves from Joker and the bombs of the past few years, especially The Flash, a proper DC title, as they attempt to reset the brand, a top priority to Zaslav. That's interesting because I remember them praising The Flash and telling everybody it was like the greatest superhero movie ever made.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
I remember that. Indeed, they distanced themselves from Folie Deux almost as soon as they took over as co-heads of the studio. During a presentation for press back in 2023, they outlined their expansive slate, but noted that Joker 2 would not be under the purview and would exist as an Elseworlds title designation given to projects that fall outside of the shared universe of movies, TV shows, and video games they are making. They are working with the Batman filmmaker Matt Reeves on his sequel, as well as a TV spinoff, The Penguin, and other projects in development outside of their mainline universe. Again, they have these other projects still going before they start their mainline universe.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether Joker 2 is a proper DC title, it is the fifth bomb for a DC character-based film since hit movie The Batman bowed in March 2022, with recent misses including Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, The Flash, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. The more modestly budgeted Blue Beetle underperformed last year, but what was not an outright bomb. Gunn and Safran are hoping to right the ship with Gunn-directed Superman, which arrives in July 2025. This puts more pressure on Superman than ever, notes one Warner's insider. Some also noted the film is a very expensive punchline, a repudiation of the very audience who showed up for the first movie. Ironically, the ending of the film features a man carving a smile on his face, out of focus, slightly off camera. According to one source, the ending of the first movie's originals got featured Phoenix Joker's carving his face in front of the crowd of his supporters, but the Dark Knight filmmaker Christopher Nolan killed that idea, believing that only his Joker, Heath Ledger, should carve his face. But Nolan is no longer at the studio, and thus there was no resistance to the idea this time around. You know?
Yeah.
Is it here? Do we have a lot of prima donnas telling people that I have the rights to do this with my Batman and nobody else can do things? Like, I'm sure the whole Matt Reeves Batman thing now has stipulations on this Batman, the Brave and the Bold movie they're doing. Primarily that I don't think can feature any Batman villains until they're done with the Matt Reeves trilogy, because he may want to use them and he gets first dibs. What do you think?
I think that the entire Warner Brothers DC film thing is a joke and not a folie à deux, or maybe someone is dropping a deuce over there. I don't know, but I think this is a mess. I think that trying to shoehorn this Joker film into anything related to DC was a mistake to begin with. And I think that at least I can say Gunn has enough intelligence to distance himself from it, but I don't see him doing anything that's got me fired up about any future DC projects. So, whatever.
I didn't like the Batman. It wasn't a terrible movie. It was just like Christopher Nolan's Batman Light. It's a watered-down version made by Ubisoft Director. It felt to me like it was treading the same water that Nolan did with his Dark Knight trilogy, but I liked the Dark Knight trilogy a lot better. I didn't hate the Batman because, frankly, I wanted to watch it after I'd watched Batman Caped Crusader because I figured, well, this is the Batman cartoon that follows this new Batman series. And I ended up liking it a lot more than Batman Caped Crusader, which was a disaster. But
I'll tell you what I hated about it. Why did it even exist? It's like, this isn't going to be part of anything ongoing.
Nope.
Nobody asked for it. This is just another rehash of Batman. It's like DC can't do anything that doesn't have a bat on its chest,
They wanted another dark and serious version like the Dark Knight trilogy, but it's even darker than the Dark Knight trilogy. It's just there's some reason why they enjoy making us mad. I can't help but feel a fair amount of this stuff is on purpose. I think a lot of it, unfortunately, I feel like there's a masochism by the people making the movies nowadays. They want to inflict pain on the audience, and I'm like, I don't want to have. It used to be. I think one complaint was
and then there's all these questions. Why is the movie industry dying? Why aren't people going to see movies anymore? Gee, I friggin' wonder.
But yeah, I think the last paragraph goes on to say neither Phillips nor Phoenix was even sure about a sequel, and for a time contemplated putting on a Broadway show instead, before ultimately committing to the movie and bringing on board Gaga in a role inspired by the comic book character Harley Quinn. The idea for the sequel came to Phoenix in a dream, and he and Phillips brought the idea to Emmerich. According to sources, in the end, some are saying that Joker Folie à Deux is a very expensive art film, but when asked who the intended audience was, one outside source sums it up this way: for Joaquin. Well, good. You spent $180 million on a movie for Joaquin Phoenix.
Yep.
Yeah, and Matt Reeves' Batman has the worst bat suit ever to be in a film. I do agree with you.
I agree.
I will say this: in Matt Reeves' bat suit, he did have some interesting gadgets. I like the camera contacts he was using. Like he had Selena Kyle go into the club wearing these, because he wanted to find out which criminals are in there. Where are these contacts that will also record, and I can see what you're seeing. That was interesting.
Yeah,
like there were things in the movie that were interesting. I thought it was way
that's
too
a technology maybe a bit too far for me to accept.
Well, not only that, but I think it was supposed to take place in the 90s.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Moving on to Green Lantern. Aaron Pierre cast as Jon Stewart in HBO's DC series. Yeah, they're doing a Green Lantern series. Aaron Pierre, Rebel Ridge, has been tapped to star in Lanterns, HBO's high-profile series based on the Green Lantern DC comic. He's set to portray Jon Stewart opposite Hal Jordan. A role Kyle Chandler has been in negotiations for and expects to close. Pierre landed the Jon Stewart part after an extensive search. As Deadline reports 2 weeks ago, in the process's final stages, he had emerged as a front-runner alongside Stephen James. The series from Ozark's Chris Mundy, Watchmen's Damon Lindelof. People didn't like Watchmen. And the comic book writer Tom King follows new recruit Jon Stewart and Lantern legend Jordan, two intergalactic cops drawn into a dark Earth-based mystery as they investigate a murder in the American heartland. This doesn't sound like a Green Lantern story. This sounds like This sounds like a season of True Detective that they needed to slap Green Lanterns onto. Am I wrong here?
It kind of does, yeah. But
the 8-episode Lanterns is produced by HBO in association with Warner Brothers Television Studios. Monday, he will serve as showrunner. Lindelof and King are co-writing, executive producing. James Hawes will direct the first 2 episodes and will executive produce. Pierre leads the cast of Jeremy Saunders' Rebel Ridge, which has been a #1 movie on Netflix for 3 weeks. and next voices of a titular character of Mufasa and Barry Jenkins' animated Lion King prequel for Disney. Currently filming Apple TV Plus' The Morning Show. Pierre also starred as Malcolm X in the Nat Geo series Genius MLK/X. And that should have been titled Geniuses. Anyway, his credits also include Garth Davis Foe alongside Paul Mescal and Saoirse Ronan. Clement Virgo's brother, Jenkins of the series The Underground Railroad. He is represented by WME Anonymous Content, Hamilton Hodel, and Sloan Officer Weaver Dern. I always feel like when they say that I'm thinking about lawyers, but they're talking about agents, right? Talent agencies, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
I have a question, though. This is, what was the plot of this? Is this a murder in the American heartland?
I have no idea.
This doesn't sound like a superhero series.
The whole point of the Green Lantern Corps is supposed to be they're like an intergalactic police force,
yes.
You know? So if you're going to do a police procedural, it needs to be on a galactic scale. This should have the level of story of like Guardians of the Galaxy. Not that I'm saying it should be comical like that. It should be more like a police procedural, but for space cops.
Would it make more sense for it to be like an X-Files situation, like where weird stuff is happening, like alien abductions, and the authorities have to, or the FBI or somebody have to call on the Green Lanterns for help?
I mean, I guess you could have the Green Lantern Corps being like a DC version of the Men in Black, where, you know, this planet is a such and such level planet. Such and such level aliens aren't supposed to be operating here. You know, where did this technology come from? And doing a, you know,
that are humans using alien technology that
they're not supposed to have, or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Is this just going to be a murder mystery series? It sounds like this Penguin series, which is really just kind of a mob series from what I've heard. I'm not saying it's a bad show, but I'm saying that I've heard people say it's like a mob series, you know, like a Sopranos type, but it's like they're having.
I'm going to tell you something else. If you're putting something on I've said this about every streaming show that we've had thus far. If you're putting it on a streaming series, you may as well make a comic book out of it. It's not canon because not everyone has seen it and is going to know what it's all about.
They're kind of going for the Disney Plus route where they want to have series along.
And that's worked out so well for Disney, right?
I don't know. Who is this guy? Well, I guess he's a relative unknown. It doesn't mean he's a bad actor. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this guy knowing absolutely zero about him going, yeah, I can see him as Jon Stewart.
I can see him as Jon Stewart. I like Jon Stewart. I also, what bugs me is this is going to be an older Hal Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Which means
we never got any actual story with Hal Jordan except that one movie with Ryan Reynolds.
Which means also, though, that in this universe, Hal Jordan predates Clark Kent Superman.
Probably true.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Nope.
So I don't know. Jon Stewart was dope in Justice League Unlimited. Yeah, I liked him in that. He had a goatee going on in that.
He was great in the comics too.
Yeah, they realized that they made a mistake. They did one of those mirror type episodes on Justice League where you got to see the Justice Lords in an alternate Earth, and they were the villains, and where something horrible had happened, and they said, why didn't we have one of the characters have a goatee? And I think later on in Justice Limited, they had the Green Lantern have, I think instead of having, you know, hair, he shaved his head and had a goatee instead. I think as a, because that's what they should have done, because that's what Spock had. He had this goatee.
Right, exactly.
They said they should have had Jon Stewart have the goatee. But he wrote the score for Dunes Part 1 and 2, also other movies. Okay. It could be a murder mysteries where the dead body ends up on Earth and the investigation leads them off-world. What if it's humans that murdered an alien? Right?
And it could
cause an international incident. And that'd be humans kill an alien, and it could cause an intergalactic incident, right? Like an important figure on an alien planet. And since they're humans and Green Lanterns, they figure, well, we're kind of both worlds. We have to solve this to stop Earth from being blown up or something by some government.
There was a multi-title, a cross-title
that could
event.
Yeah,
there was a cross-title event that they did back in the 90s called Invasion. And it basically was an intergalactic story of all these aliens attacking Earth.
Right.
Honestly, that's what Green Lantern should be doing. That should all be, everything Green Lantern should be leading up to some big event like Invasion.
But that would be interesting. Like, yeah, like maybe an alien prince or something was visiting Earth or was murdered, and basically this could cause this alien king or whatever to invade the Earth. And the Lantern Corps says, "Look, you guys got 2 weeks to solve this thing and find out what happened and who did it, or otherwise, we may not be able to stop a war from happening." Right? That could be interesting, right?
Right.
Maybe. I don't know that that's what they're going to do. It could just be a normal murder case.
You know what? Absolutely. Darth Plato is right. Green Lantern Corps is basically the DC version of the Nova Corps. That's kind of right.
Yes. Yeah, basically, yeah. There are a lot of if you look at DC and Marvel, there are a lot of like echoes in both universes. Like there's
Thanos and Darkseid. I mean,
Doctor Strange, Doctor Fate.
Yeah. And it's very
Aquaman,
clear sometimes that one company stole from the other company. Don't forget the connections between Supergirl and Captain Marvel, Linda Danvers.
Mm.
They're basically the same character in two different universes.
I couldn't really find a Superman analog, except when I did watch Luke Cage, I felt he reminds me a bit of a Superman. And when I was watching the Netflix series, they have similar. I think if Clark Kent and Luke Cage met each other, they'd get along. I'll just say that. They have similar personalities. They have the super strength, but not that one is like the other. But because they often say Captain America is the Superman analog, but I'm not seeing it. I don't know. Superman is Gladiator in Marvel. Interesting. Okay. Who's Wonder Woman in Marvel? You know what I want to say? Thor. Even though it's a opposite sex, right? But it's another son of a god, right? Or demigod character, right?
Yeah,
and that's how I see it. Yeah,
there wasn't there a Marvel team, like I want to say not the Supremes. What were they? But they had like a blonde-haired sun-powered superhero. He was supposed to be the Superman of Marvel. It was the Superiors or something like that. I don't remember.
Sometimes they make characters just to make fun of characters from the other universe.
Yep, absolutely.
Batman Beyond, they had this group of heroes that were basically aping on they were making fun of the Fantastic Four, and they turned out to be villains in the episode at the end. But anyway, moving on.
Hyperion. That was the name of the character from Marvel. That was the Superman analog.
So you're thinking about the Eternals? Oh, wow.
No, not the Eternals. It was not the Eternals that I was thinking of.
I still have not seen that movie.
Yeah, don't bother. It totally is not. It totally is not worth it.
Superion from the tip.
But Squadron Supreme would be the Marvel equivalent of the Justice League. So look into it. Do a little Google foo on that one.
Oh,
yes, Deadpool was a ripoff of Deathstroke. Yes,
funny. I didn't even think about that.
Wade Wilson, Slade Wilson. He's absolutely right.
I love Deadpool.
Sorry, I don't know. I don't mean to assume your gender, Darth Plato.
When the guy walks up, remember when the guy walks up and says, "I'm Black Tom." Oh, white Wade Wilson. Remember that? Just that movie, and then Black Tom, who wasn't black, and then I think Cable, he ends up getting killed by one of Cable's shots, and he said, "You killed Black Tom, you racist." Remember that? It's just terrible. I need to watch the third one.
Actually, Marvel has, and that's kind of a little bit of a meta joke, because Marvel has a lot of characters that, are black this, black that, and most of them are not racially black.
That's true, but DC, you got what? Black
Black Cat.
Black
No, Black.
No, that's Marvel.
Yeah, what is it? It's Black
Lightning.
Black Lightning.
Black Manta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Black Manta. Oh wait, Black Manta was black, wasn't it?
Yes.
Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the top tier villains in DC as far as I'm concerned. By watching these cartoons, I realize that he's one of the A-list villains. Boomer, I saw the Internals, wish I hadn't. Yes. I don't know. I just want Black
Black
Vulcan.
Vulcan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Black
Yeah.
Lightning.
Yeah.
I was arguing. See, I told you when I was coming up with my Superman movie.
Yes, Black Canary is a great example of one that is obviously white blonde girl who's not black. Yeah.
My when we were on Match 6 channel and doing our own thing, I wanted to have Black Lightning, the character who becomes Black Lightning, would get introduced in the first Superman movie, and then I think he might become Black Lightning in the second one. I think to help out Superman, who's getting beaten up by Metallo. I was going to kind of bring him into it, but yeah, it's just never mind. That's obviously not what they're going to do. Apparently, all the heroes are going to show up right away. Velma.
Oh, let this one
I had a huge
rest.
crush on Black Canary. She's one of the best looking women in the DC animated universe. I'll say that for her. It's funny. In the first episode of Justice League Unlimited, Green Lantern's like, I don't want to be part of this organization. I act independently. I don't care. And then he walks across and he sees Black Canary putting on her boots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he decides to stay with the Justice League because he sees her.
Yeah, exactly.
Velma had been canceled, so comicbook.com opines what went wrong. Let's get
I kind of find this to be a whole lot of cope, but I figure it's worth talking about.
Velma was considered one of the most controversial animated series in recent memory. When it debuted last year in 2023, many animation fans were off-put by this drastically different take on Mystery Incorporated. Every character that was originally introduced in Scooby-Doo was given a drastically different personality, while the show did garner 2 seasons and a television special. It will not see a third. Recently, Max confirmed that Velma had been canceled, meaning there would be no third season to wrap up any lingering plot lines. Considering we here at comicbook.com have seen the entirety of the series, we thought now it would be the perfect time to do a post-mortem examination of why Velma failed. I'm not blaming Zaslav for this. This was probably okayed before he got on, and they were required to do 2 seasons, so he might be the one responsible for being canceled, actually, so I'll give him that. If you never had the chance to watch this latest take of Mystery Incorporated, Velma followed its titular character as she struggled with high school life, romantic possibilities, and a life turned upside down due to potentially supernatural circumstances out of her control. When it comes to other Scooby-Doo gang characters, Fred Jones is a spoiled rich kid with no life experience. Norval Rogers, Shaggy, is a cautious but well-meaning high schooler, and Daphne Blake is sitting at the top of her school's popularity food chain. While all changes aren't always for the worse, the differences between the new takes of Scooby-Doo characters here weren't for the better. One of the biggest issues that Velma truly struggled with over the course of the seasons and the recent Halloween special was that the character themselves weren't that likable. Now, when you look at the history of television, there are plenty of series that feature out of the special sauce in terms of presenting characters in a positive light who are often harsh and or would be considered abhorrent in modern society. Most prominently, we can see this in series such as It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Seinfeld, wherein Patty's Pub and Jerry's friends had a certain charisma about them that attracted viewers despite and sometimes as a result of their less than savory acts. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but I'm assuming that maybe like Seinfeld, that show's about is a comedy of manners show.
Yeah.
Is that right? I don't know if you've seen it. Where like
I haven't seen it, but that's what it sounded like to me.
That's what Seinfeld would be about, them doing some kind of faux pas that maybe on the surface wouldn't seem like a big deal, and then it spirals out. Like I think all the people in this apartment complex were doing the kissing on the cheek, and then Jerry was like, "No, you can shake my hand," like he didn't want to do it one time, and then like when you saw everybody's pictures on the board, someone drew a nasty face on Jerry's picture, because he didn't want to do the. Anyway, such wasn't the case with Velma, as most of the characters present themselves in a way that would often feel like a chore to get through some of the episodes. Fred's whining and disregard for anyone, thanks to his pampered background, never felt endearing. The constant jokes regarding Norville potentially followed down a path to become Shaggy never landed, and eventually felt like beating a dead horse to the extreme. And Velma's commentary often felt as though she was taking swings at the audience who were daring to watch the series itself. That feeling of contempt from her character was in service of the humorous tone of the show, but it could make viewers feel detached from her predicaments, ridiculous as they might have been. When it comes to the mysteries that were presented as a part of Velma, they often really never felt rewarding. Granted, the series never needed to be an offshoot of Scooby-Doo itself, but it effectively dodged key tenets of the series that could have worked well by incorporating them with a twist. The ultimate villain reveals of seasons 1 and 2 almost felt completely out of nowhere, and even thinking of them to this day might throw one for a loop, especially when it comes to the season 2's big bad. One of the most controversial aspects of Velma's second season was the introduction of Scrappy-Doo, the nephew of Scooby, who was been a hated character for quite some time since his initial introduction to the franchise. Creating a murdering canine who was part of a government experiment gone awry really felt unbelievable here for a show that at least attempted at times to stay more grounded than some of its previous Scooby-Doo counterparts. Also, this was already done when it comes to the live-action Scooby-Doo films, and done much better than in Max's animated series. We by no means are defending Scrappy-Doo, but it felt like territory that had already been explored.
Yeah.
I
remember someone saying about the wind up of the first season, the murderer, whoever it was like one of the characters' moms or something like that. Yeah. And everyone was like, that's absolutely impossible based on what they've already established throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah.
You know,
so
nothing.
It's like Gossip Girl.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what? That's probably an excellent analogy, because it's a clear and obvious shortcoming of the writers to not even be able to have a plan and see it through. You know, you could argue, okay, well, people didn't like the characters and whatever, but the mystery was good and the story was good. Nope, there is absolutely nothing good about this, period. You know, and this is just a bunch of people with zero talent, just making up their own crap and saying, well, if you don't like it, you're Istophobic, and you know it's all your fault, and you know, hiding behind forced diversity to cover up the fact that they don't know what the hell they're doing.
As a person of Indian ancestry, I hereby authorize you guys to dump on the Velma showrunner.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. She's someone I wouldn't want to see next Tuesday, but she's just a symptom of the fact that anyone gives her work is the company's own fault. You know,
the way animation works, 21 episodes or more ordered. Well, they didn't order 21 episodes of Uzumaki. They could have given this money they gave to this to Uzumaki.
Oh my gosh, it's all Uzumaki all the time.
Okay, and this was a Warner Brothers funded thing.
Okay, you're upset.
Please stay out of anime, American companies. You just make things worse. All right, moving on. Seinfeld was a show about narcissism. Yeah, there was that too.
No, Curtis, you have zero talent, but you could not work in Hollywood because you're a white male.
Oh man,
you have nothing to hide behind.
I remember on Jerry Seinfeld in one episode got the wrong number, and this woman, and he says, I think she had a Chinese name. Maybe she'll call back. I like Chinese women. And then Elaine goes, isn't that a little racist? She says to him when he says, I like Chinese women. He says, if I like the race, how can that be racist?
That's a good point. It's a good point. You know?
Well, I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm just done. You can read the rest of this, but I just, future holds for Scooby-Doo post Velma's design. I don't know. Maybe you could hire people that don't burn your brands. Did people not understand that Scooby-Doo is actually a valuable children's, like, family-friendly property over at Warner Brothers?
That's all the more reason they want to destroy it.
But
I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
Anyway, goodbye, Velma. You will not be missed. Did
not at all.
Did Seth Rogen produce Santa Claus so ever go off the air? I never bothered. I don't remember what it was called. That horrible animated Santa Claus series.
No idea. I have no idea.
Like the old Rudolph specials. I could see some kid watching it while the parents are around. Oh no.
No idea.
All right.
Now
news. You like the picture I found?
Yeah.
It's like a reunion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who's the Boss sequel series dropped by Amazon? That's the big news.
Yeah.
Looks like Tony.
Why am I not surprised?
Looks like Tony Danza is not the boss at Amazon Freevee. Amazon MGM Studios has dropped plans for a continuation of the long-running Tony Danza sitcom, Who's the Boss? The project, which originally announced in 2022 from the late producer Norman Lear, would have reunited Danza and his former TV daughter, Alyssa Milano, as Tony and Samantha Pacelli. Set 30 years after the events of the original series, sequel centered around now single mother Samantha living in the family house. At the time, Milano said she had hoped that the new series could be developed in a way that really stays true to that whole progressive thing that we had in the 1980s while still tapping into today's issues.
And maybe that's exactly why somebody was like, you know what? Yeah, maybe
They
not.
probably talked too much and they got rid of it. Debuting in September 1984, Who's the Boss featured Danza as a widower and former Major League Baseball player who moves in with his young daughter from Brooklyn, New York to an upscale suburb in Fairfield, Connecticut after retiring due to a shoulder injury. Okay, Who's the Boss on ABC aired for 8 seasons, producing 196 episodes. At the height of its popularity, it finished 6th overall in prime time in its 4th season. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the top 10, you're in good shape. But that's it. That's it. That's all she wrote. Are we upset?
Not at all. I as much as I like Tony Danza, I will not support anything that Alyssa Milano ever does ever again. So, probably saving themselves a good deal of money. Maybe companies are starting to realize some projects aren't worth it if certain people on the team are a little bit too outspoken about some not necessarily 100% popular topics.
Kind of sad to see Tony look like that.
I'd say for his age, he's not doing too bad. I mean, I can't complain. He's got hair, I can't, I can't fault that.
Yeah, him and William Shatner.
Yeah, right.
I'm kidding. Actually, for all I know, William Shatner does have hair at this point. He probably anyway. Actually, let's not say anything about William Shatner's hair or whatever.
Yeah,
good old. We like William Shatner here on the channel, don't we?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next story, which is Netflix.
Yeah, layoffs at Netflix. No big surprise. That's it.
Netflix PR operation.
That pretty much covers it.
Netflix PR operation underwent layoffs Thursday. About 10 people were impacted across series and film publicity. Sources said the cuts are believed to be part of a reorganization under Natalie Bajela-Jack, who was named Vice President of Domestic Publicity in July. Among those affected by today's layoffs were Director of Publicity Jason Clark, who had been at Netflix for over 7 years. He shared the news on Instagram. Getting laid off sucks, which has impacted many of my Netflix friends today. And over the past months, for many, he wrote, the layoffs were being implemented while Netflix Chief Content Officer Bila Bajaria was making the news at the Bloomberg Screen Time event earlier Thursday morning, announcing several series pickups and renewals. In April, Netflix laid off 15 people in its film development as part of the reorganization after Dan Lin took over for Scott Stuber. It has been a brutal year in the media industry with frequent and deep cuts in challenging economic conditions. Well, is the economy not doing well?
I would say that none, again, like so many other items that we talk about, none of this exists in a vacuum. The economy isn't doing well. I'd say that the entertainment industry isn't doing well, partly because of their own decisions, partly because of external decisions. So I think all of that has an impact. My hair is real. Aged Boomer.
Did you know that Tony Danza is an actual licensed history teacher? I did not know that.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
If Netflix wanted to save money, they would shut down their DEI department because that's just burning money. They're not going to do that. Netflix is full on with that stuff, I think.
Well, see, I don't know. See, when there's layoffs in the publicity department and there's restructuring, what is the motivation behind it and why and where is it leading to? It could very well be that they end up doing that ultimately, because publicity is very much tied into DEI at a lot of these companies.
Yes.
So don't know. Just let's wait and find out. Not to mention there's a lot of companies that are dealing with a lot of lawsuits about their DEI hiring practices, which surprisingly run directly counter to the equal employment opportunity laws that we have at the federal level. Shocker.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of DEI departments are going bye-bye, because they're illegal.
Yes. Well, there is that. Ghostbusters.
I love Ghostbusters. This one comes out of Ghostbusters News. Definitely make sure that we give them a credit. If you're not following Ghostbusters News on YouTube, and of course, ghostbustersnews.com, who literally have all the Ghostbusters news, you're missing out if you're a Ghostbusters fan.
While promoting Saturday Night Live, which he co-wrote alongside filmmaker partner Ghostbusters Afterlife director Jason Reitman, Keenan would touch on Oh, okay. Well, I must have missed the first part of this. Anyway, Keenan would touch on an array of different projects in development, including Ghostbusters Return to the Big Screen, stating the answer is yes, adding that both he and Reitman take the responsibility and the joy of being the keepers of the flame of Ghostbusters very seriously. We definitely are continuing the conversation of telling big Ghostbuster stories on the big screen, and stay tuned. There will be more, and there will be more about that later. Keenan would also touch on the upcoming Netflix series, which officially received the green light this past summer, being classified as a kids programming, with Mystery Science Theater 3000's head writer Elliot Kalin serving as series writer, showrunner, and executive producer. And I've spoken about the fact that we are in very active development on our animated series that we're producing with Netflix. That is something that I'm actively involved with, Jason, on a day-to-day basis right now. We are really excited about the stories that are starting to be told there, and the way that it intersects with the Ghostbusters stories that you and I love is going to be thrilling for our audiences. While further details about the highly anticipated Netflix series remains under wraps, Reitman previously revealed that it would navigate an unexplored era and decade of Ghostbusters canon. Given Keenan's comments, it would be interwoven with the stories that fans know and love. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. That kind of piqued my interest there.
I wonder what it could be.
There's a couple things I can think of, but I don't want to speculate, because we always get disappointed when we start the fan theories.
The 2000s?
Could be.
Or pre,
or it could be prior to all this. Hell, they could go back to the very beginning and do all the Gozer worshippers, at the turn of the century.
Steampunk. They could do the steampunk Ghostbusters.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
As both Jason and Gil are doing press for the premiere of Saturday Night, hitting theaters nationwide this weekend, we'll be sure to report any additional comments about the future Ghostbusters project. Stay tuned. So, looks like we have some Ghostbusters projects to look forward to, and hopefully Netflix will allow them to make more than 4 episodes. And,
I like that Darth Plato wants a movie where the Ghostbusters team up with the I'm presuming the Ghostbusters from
Hanna-Barbera,
from the Filmation series.
That's right.
Yeah, that would be actually pretty cool. But that would be like trying to do a DC and Marvel team up, because you got two completely incompatible companies that might not want to work well together.
Yeah, I know. Franchise.
Yeah.
Well, who knows what they're going to do? What if someone were to open like a Ghostbusters franchise, but not really believe in it, just because they wanted a restaurant to be like to fake me? Or what if it's someone opening up a franchise?
Planet Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's funny. What if it was someone to open up a Ghostbusters franchise to do fake hauntings that they would have to pretend to get rid of, and then it turns out they end up face to face with a real haunting? I don't know if that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I remember watching the Ghostbusters cartoons of the 80s.
Yeah.
Nintendo is making an alarm clock so you can wake up to Zelda.
I'm getting
Super
a little ahead
Mario
of you.
sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it. I didn't think there was much to say about it, but I thought it was something to close out on.
Oh my goodness.
I think
it's not a successor to the Switch, because why would we need a successor to the Switch?
Right.
As games on it start to really chug, but it's okay. It's not a successor to the Switch, but Nintendo does have a new piece of hardware to announce: a motion-controlled alarm clock. The device is called Alarmo, and it responds to your movements, which means you can snooze it with a gesture or stop it by actually getting out of bed. It costs $99.99 and will be available in early 2025, though Nintendo says Switch Online subscribers can purchase it early right now. It appears this is the mystery Nintendo gadget that hit the Federal Communications Commission last month, which revealed that the device features a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi radio and the 24 gigahertz MM wave sensor it uses to detect movement. In addition to the motion features, a big part of the device appears to be its immersive sounds, which are pulled from 5 different Switch games: Breath of the Wild, Pikmin 4, Splatoon 3, Super Mario Odyssey, and Ring Fit Adventure. Ring Fit Adventure?
I have no idea what that is.
I think I know what it is. I think it's like you hold a ring outside of you. It's like I don't know if it's like a Pilates game. I don't know what it is. Okay. There are 35 audio scenes in total, though you can also connect the alarm to your Nintendo account for more, pulled from Animal Crossing New Horizons and Mario Kart 8, which will be free updates coming later. There are also some sleep tracking features as well. Here's how Nintendo describes them. You can also check records to see how much you move around in your sleep, set an hourly chime theme to your chosen title, and change between steady or gentle modes for your morning alarm. In steady mode, the alarm will gradually get more intense the longer you stay in bed, whereas gentle mode offers a more consistent intensity level. There's also a button mode for a more traditional tactile hit the snooze alarm clock experience. You can even use sleepy sounds to wind down with, to soothing music and sounds at your set bedtime. The announcement comes at a time when Nintendo seems to be focused on everything but its next console.
Yeah.
Last month saw the debut of Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, possibly the Switch's last major release, while in October, the company opened the Nintendo Museum in Kyoto. Yeah. Who uses alarm clocks anymore?
I mean,
Quiet you. Quiet you. Everyone, Nintendo, you're acting like Nintendo's thinking like they're still stuck in the last century. Anyway, maybe you guys could have created a Game Boy Classic with like 30 games on it, which is what I want. Okay, can you do that?
Right.
You do that instead of alarm clocks? What am I supposed to do with this thing? Also, I don't want to wake up to Mario sounds because then the whole point of the alarm clock is it's a sound you don't like. That's why it wakes you up. I don't want a sound I like. I guess I could pick the ring toss thing, whatever they had on there, which I never got. The Japanese will love it, though. I think it's already being sold in Japan. I don't get it. Sounds like a Trojan horse, maybe. We kept thinking that Alexa and Siri were the big Trojan horses. It'll be this thing. Instead, it'll be sucking up all your data.
I mean, it does seem kind of weird. I mean,
you think this is weird? $100?
Yeah.
Can you put like the Resident Evil music on here instead?
I was just gonna say,
it's like,
was it Nate who said, people use cell phones these days? Not only that, but I mean, seriously, there are other options. There are cheaper options with more things that you could do. You could have your own music to wake up to.
Nintendo, this thing I predict will sell like hotcakes. Because Nintendo, I don't want to call them Nintendo drones. That's a word people use for them. But like, Nintendo has a dedicated fan base that buys a lot of weird stuff. I don't know. Frankly, the Lego Super Mario World creation thing looked more interesting than this. I'd rather get that than this if I was going to get Nintendo paraphernalia. But I don't know. Like, you can recreate Yoshi and Mario from Super Mario World, and they actually look pixely like they did in the 16-bit game, except it's done with Legos,
Yeah.
Look neat. I don't know. I don't normally buy Lego sets, but that might be one I would be willing to go for. But dad joke: when is a car no longer a car? When it turns into a driveway.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
Okay, I had a riddle at work the other week.
Okay.
And someone asked me this, and it was like, what moves up and down but does not? Okay, what goes up and down but does not move? What goes up and down but does not move? See if you can answer this.
What goes up and down
but does not move?
Your weight?
That's a reasonable.
Not a bad answer. What do you have?
No.
I had the temperature. That was my guess.
Oh, okay.
Instead, it was the it was a staircase.
Oh, I suppose I can see that. Sure.
I
Makes
picked
sense.
temperature. I thought that was a good guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. That's it for Geeky Geezers at 11 o'clock on the dot. Well, 11:01 on the dot, so it's not really 11 o'clock. Moods. Yeah, moods go up and down. That's right. That would have been a good answer. Anyway, that's
no
Geeky
movement
Geezers.
involved. Yeah.
Don't leave YouTube later tonight.
Yeah.
At midnight.
You will, if you're over on my channel, you will be auto-dramatically sent over there for a Geeky Geezers raid over at the other side of midnight.
Yes, I guess we did have the same guest, Fraggle. Yeah, how many guests are you having on tonight?
I don't know. I have no idea what's going on over there just yet. I believe, unless something has changed, it's still horror films, Halloween films on physical media.
Oh, okay,
but,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, that should be worth tuning into.
Yep.
All right, that's it. But y'all have a good y'all have a good week. But tune into that at 5 past midnight. So that's a little over an hour from now, and then tomorrow night you're doing a double feature. Is that correct?
I am. We're doing a Columbus Day twofer. Specifically, we're doing the movie Columbus Day and Big Daddy with Adam Sandler, which
I remember Big Daddy
actually takes place over
Columbus
Day. So
I remember Big Daddy. That's the movie where I learned that McDonald's stopped serving at 10:30 breakfast.
Yeah. There you go.
There's a wonderful scene where the kid really has to go to the bathroom, so he stops in the restaurant. Can we use your bathroom? No, you have to be a client. I'm not going to tell you what Adam Sandler does then. Okay,
I can figure out what. I can figure that out.
But it's funny. Steve Buscemi plays a homeless guy, and he says, "I'm going to get you an egg McMuffin, thank you." And then he walks past me and, "Where's my egg McMuffin?" They stopped serving breakfast at 10:30. So I thought it was 11. So did I. And he walks by. It's super good show. Thank you, Lady Mist. I was in a bit of a down mood tonight, probably because it was a heavy week regardless, but I think Uzumaki, I'll put it this way. The reason why we like our movies, TV shows, video games is that when our life is tough, you sit down and enjoy a movie or your favorite show or a comic book or something. And the trouble is the people on the other side aren't doing their jobs. And when they don't do their jobs and you complain, they call you non-decent human beings.
Yeah.
No, a non-decent human being would be wanting to turn your skin into a lampshade in my house. All right. Anyway, that was a Chinese film. I think Sue Hark made it. It was Human Skin Lanterns. Did you know that?
Oh my gosh!
The Kung Fu guy. He made that movie. Yes. Anyway. All right. What's going on later on this week, though? Tuesday we have Sparkwood 21.
Yep. We're into the last 3 episodes of the season, and things kind of really start ramping up in Twin Peaks. The more I think about this, and I'll have to talk this through with deleted scenes. I think after the return, we're going to need a Sparkwood 21 where we just talk about retro, go back,
at least one,
theorize what have we just seen, because it's some pretty heavy duty.
I have to say too, I watched this, I caught up because I wasn't able to attend last time, but it was a what I thought was interesting. What did I miss last time? I think it was a lot of stuff happens in that episode.
Oh yeah.
A certain Dougie takes a fork and shoves it in the outlet.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's heating up, but and I like the final part at the Bang Bang Club.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The One Punch Man, as I put it.
Man. Yeah, and he did a lot of damage too.
The guy's going into convulsions.
My dad told me stories about Hollywood during the Great Depression. Going to the movie theaters was a big way people escaped. They would have giveaways. You would sometimes get a plate on a movie night.
Yeah.
The idea was it was really trying to help you out. And now Hollywood, especially as we're in not so good times now, they're really not doing. Someone else has to take over, I think. We need an alternative to Hollywood. I guess there's us, but we're not making movies.
Well, that's true.
I have tons of old movies and DVDs, so I can watch them anytime. And a good way to make a grumpy day go happier. Yeah, watch a classic this weekend. To be fair, I did watch Arthur the King over the weekend. That was a Mark Wahlberg movie based on a true story. It was good. It was a good movie. It was a slice of life type of movie. It wasn't about King Arthur. It was about a dog.
Fair enough.
That was tagging along with racers that were doing an adventure racing tournament in Costa Rica, I think. Oh no, it was Dominican Republic. All right, are you guys going to start Twin Peaks over? Maybe watch a few Lynch movies and then start over? I don't know what we're doing next. We'll probably get to some other Lynch movies, but deleted scenes with no more than.
Oh,
Max World Entertainment. Welcome.
Welcome, Trey, on the new MWE channel. Okay, so we got another channel.
Subscribe.
Yeah, let me
let's see if you can find it and drop a link. You can if you want.
I'm trying to.
But Arthur the King was good. It was a good movie, and it didn't bother me. It was just it was a good slice of life movie, and it had heart, and we don't get a lot of that.
Here it is. Oh yeah, I gotta subscribe, and
Drop that link.
I'm working on it. Looks like it was. Yeah. Oh gosh, you must have just started it because it's
severely undersub, which means you have to be a guest on Thursday Things.
Absolutely. If I don't know if you're still streaming on Thursdays, but if Netter can get you on and we could sit and chat with you on stream and we can talk about the new channel.
It's yours.
Talk about the new channel. And I will share this out. I'm going to pin it into my the former Max World Entertainment channel underwent some major changes and is now my podcast channel, Core Matters, and thus because of the changes I had to create a brand new channel. No worries about that. I will put this up on my featured page here on my channel and make sure that everybody is subscribed, and we'll get you up to that 1,000 subscribers in no time and get you monetized here.
Yes. Subscribe to the new Max World's new channel. He's good people. And as we always say, the fans are making the best stuff, right?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, I do feel like the institutions are trying to tear down the independent creators. So we got to stand together, my friends.
Exactly. But much love, Troy Netter, and this amazing community here. Thank you, Max World Entertainment. I wanted to. So Thursday, who's going to be on Netter's Thursdays Things?
You're talking to him.
Oh, Troy. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're gonna actually be doing a little bit of update on our own channel.
I see. You're doing the updates of what's going on and where you are at the moment. Okay, kind of like a community thing. Gotcha.
Exactly. And but of course, always looking for some new channels to promote. And if you happen to be one of them, let us know.
Yeah, my only thing is that you need to have a YouTube channel with your own content that you're trying to promote.
Yes.
And you're trying to grow your channel.
Yep.
I'm happy to have you on. You can DM me on Twitter. It's probably the quickest, easiest way to get my attention. Just put which week you would like in the DM, and I'm happy to pencil you in.
Yep.
Cool.
And Friday, we're going to be
doing
the last
great
call.
idea you came up with.
Oh, you remember it?
Oh yeah.
This isn't the special. This isn't the special. That's 2 Fridays from now.
No. We're going to be talking horror games.
We were going to talk. Here's what I was going to do. I thought we could do horror games, horror toys, and horror board games. Stuff in the toy family. I thought,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Like
that's
if you have
fine because
action figures, like we can pick what we grew up with.
well,
Like
it's interesting
like
because I
the
thought you
Nice
were
Shrunky.
going. I thought you were going specifically with computer games because I was like, I'd love to talk about horror clicks a little bit. But if we're going to go that route, then not only could I talk about horror clicks, I could talk about Arkham Horror, and
Sure.
I can
You can do a role-playing game instead of board game. I'll probably
absolutely. I got
game.
a bunch of stuff we could talk about.
I don't know
Friday,
what I want
sure.
to keep it at. Maybe you can come up with 10 things, and they can be a mix between toys, computer games, and board games. How's that sound? Okay, and I'll come up with 10 things as well. Just let me know.
Got it.
Unless you think
got
that's
it
too much.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how
nice
far.
Thing is that whatever you put together for a slideshow or whatever, I can show off physically on camera.
That's true. So yeah. But I figure we can do that. We'll have some fun with it. I might do 5 toys, maybe 3 video games and 2 board games. That's probably what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to go for the obvious stuff. Like I'm not going to do Castlevania because I feel like I've talked about Castlevania. Other horror theme games I think would be an interesting.
That's fair.
I'm going to try to talk about the less talked about stuff. So that might be what I'll
fair
do.
enough.
That could be what we could talk about, the less talked about stuff. All right, but that'll be fun. And then come Saturday, that'll be on Big Al's channel. What's the big movie?
Psycho for Alfred Hitchcocktober.
That's a good one, Psycho.
Yes, it is.
That's a creepy one.
Looking forward to that.
Some of the best dialogue I've ever heard in a movie when Anthony Perkins is talking to what's her name? When was married to Tony Curtis? Jamie Curtis.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Anyway, her. Yeah, when he's talking to her, that's a very tense scene, and it's even though it sounds like a regular conversation. Yeah. But he has some mommy issues.
Mommy issues, absolutely.
My favorite line is from Psycho 3 when he goes, "No one must know about her, what she's done." And you realize, Norman's not a good guy either.
Right.
Janet Leigh, sorry, I should know her.
Janet Leigh, right? Thank you.
Nice-looking woman. Anyway, yeah. And then come Sunday, you can check out Western Cinema with Outlaw Bill and deleted scenes, and then probably another spicy unscripted.
Yeah.
And we'll get into this stream where we'll see if I can find any articles to rant about Uzumaki with, but I'm probably gonna have to wait for the show to finish.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I waited 5 years for this son of a. I'm sorry, and you ruined it. You ruined it. It's like the Atari 2600 Pac-Man all over again. Anyway, that's all. Great year for entertainment, isn't it? Anyway,
yeah.
How come the guy in the pic on the right looks like me? I
think.
Your brother's from another mother, okay? You're your brother from another mother for Troy, right?
I'll tell you, Netter once said that all babies look alike. They all look like Sergeant Burkholder from Hogan's Heroes. I always said they all look like Winston Churchill. I think all white men end up looking the same too as they get older.
Basically, yeah. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good week. Check out The Other Side of Midnight, 5 past the next hour. Have a good night, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Stay in until the audio outro video finishes playing, or may not. Play outro.
Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
Hit it, sweetheart.